Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast, episode 806.
From the sleepy suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, there are assembled the world's two greatest podcast hosts, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Sean Whalen.
Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast. I'm a big fan of variant colors. My love for Batman is that stuff. Let's talk some comics.
And Jim Segulin.
How's it going, eh? You know me and Superman. I'm really loving what we're doing. Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast.
Their mission, to discuss DC Comics in books, movies, and television several times a month in 1 to 3 hour episodes. And to serve all mankind.
Outstanding!
Welcome to Raging Bullets. I'm Sean Whalen, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Jim, the sensei of the Whatnot Segulin.
How's it going, eh?
Jim, on this episode, we are journeying back to DCKO as we take a look at DCKO Knightfight number 3, Aquaman number 13, and DCKO number 3. We are sponsored, as always, by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segulin, what is going on with DCBService.com?
First off, Absolute Batman number 1 is on its 11th printing. So I'm like, outstanding. I love the fact that it's doing so well. But looking through this, I saw a bunch of, it was funny, creative names popped out on me. Batman Wonder Woman Truth one-shot, written by Jeff Loeb, art by Jim Chung, 38% off, only $3.71. Bizarro, Year None, 1 of 4, written by Kevin Smith, 38% off, only $3.09. And Fury of Firestorm, 1 of 6, written by Jeff Lemire, 38% off, only $2.07. I was like, yes, these are a thing. Plus, we've got some free comic book day stuff out there. Aquamanity, DC Next Level Sampler, DC and Sonic the Hedgehog, and Nice House on the Lake, written by James Tynion IV. So this is outstanding. Thank you, DC.
Over at InStockTrades.com, I'm a geek out for DC Finest. Green Arrow, The Trial of Oliver Queen. This is Denny O'Neil, Mike Grell, Sharon Wright, Dan Jurgens, Ed Hannigan. This collects Green Arrow Volume 2, issues 9 to 20, The Question Annual number 2, Green Arrow Annual number 2, Secret Origins number 38, and the never-before collected Black Canary Tales from Action Comics Weekly, 609 to 616, 624 to 635. Those never collected before is something to check out in these DC Finest volumes. They are starting to collect some things in these that have not been available anywhere else, including digitally. So this is a great chance to get all those books. 640 pages in this. $39.99 regularly, 48% off, only $20.79. Do not pass on the DC Finest line if you've been missing out on it. There are some amazing collections that are going on. I love that these are just unique volumes. Mr. Segulin, what kind of a podcast are we?
Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast. We go in-depth into plotline, story twists, and whatnot of the comics we're discussing on today's show. So if you're ever in the books, you may want to come back later so you can better enjoy the show.
Let's talk some comics. Jim, I want to shout out a couple books that I really enjoyed over this past week. First of all, DC Vertigo came back with Bleeding Hearts. And this is by Dennis Camp, Stepan Morian, and Matt Hollingsworth, and apologies for any name butchery. This was when it was funny. I had to get myself back in the Vertigo mindset, so I've been reading a lot of superhero comics and things like that, and this one was really good. It's a zombie story. I had to figure that out for 3 pages, and I'm like, what is going on here? These characters are acting really strange. Do I even like this? Then it clicked, and I'm like, oh, wait. This is a zombie story where it's told from the zombies' perspective in a world that they've ransacked, where they keep eating all of their food, which is people. And they're starting to run out of people. So the quest is now, how do they keep surviving? So these are intelligent. They have camps. They have a sensibility as far as like grouping together and trying to survive. They have these really long names that have to do with things that they've done. Like there's a zombie that's just their lower torso. And everyone is impressed with this zombie because of the fact that he's still like upbeat, even though he's just a lower torso. But his way of communicating is by like dancing and movement and things like that. But like our main character, Poke, in this, like there's one point in time where he feels bad because he doesn't remember the language anymore. So he humors him, if it makes sense. But he's got this buddy of his where the two of them helped each other. And this guy, he's got like this mushroom fungus growing out from underneath him. But where they became friends is his buddy at one point in time was doused in flames. He helped put him out. And the two of them became really connected. And as a symbol of their friendship, they traded arms. Like his one right arm he gave to his buddy. He took his buddy's right arm. And they've been best friends ever since. And Poke's having a crisis of conscience. Because Poke is realizing we're eating these people, destroying our food, destroying the food, but I used to be one of them. So what does that mean? And should I be doing this? So that's the issue, is kind of what's going on with him? Why is he so different than everybody else? And that's where it's going. If you love zombie stories, which I do, I'm a big fan of the horror genre. I love zombie stories, vampire stories, stuff like that. It's a different twist because it's all told from the zombie's perspective. And Poke's an immediately likable character. Like, give yourself a few pages, because when you start wrapping your head on what's going on here, it's well worth reading. Vertigo's back. I needed this. I needed these things that were different, unique, playing around with the medium. So this one just came out, and it's part of this new launch lineup. There's a whole new. We're going to get new 100 bullets out of this.
Yes.
Which I'm super excited about. The other one I read is going to be one that's you may have gotten to already. We have that DC X AEW #1 came out. And it's by Steve Orlando is the writer. And it's Travis Mercer on art, Andrew Dahlhaus on colors. And the cool part is there's this storyline premise where there's this galactic power. There's this power that the superstars are seeking out. And the DC Universe characters are helping them to get this power. The first issue sets up team-ups between certain characters and certain DC characters where they're partnering up together. And you have like obvious ones like Batman and Darby Allin, which was a good one. Wonder Woman and Willow Nightingale, which on paper at first I didn't think of. But when you think of like Willow Nightingale's whole MO and the way she operates, oh my God, the two of them fit like perfect. And you had Guy Gardner and John Moxley, which in and of itself, you think about the personalities of both, they're written like they should be for that particular one. So it's really cool to see these characters teamed up. And then there's a twist at the end of the first issue that sets up the other issues, like where things are going to go. Somebody turns. There is a heel turn, which incorporates a DC villain and a superstar. So it's really kind of cool how it goes. If you're a fan of both AEW wrestling and DC Comics, this is a really fun romp. It's everything that it's meant to be. I like the writing of Steve Orlando, so I just find when he's on books, I tend to enjoy them anyway. But this was something that I was seeking out, and I figured we would shout that out.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to read either one. I have them both, but I haven't had a chance to read them because life has just been crazy this past week. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay just tease them without going super spoilery, but I would definitely check out both issues if you're fans of both. I'm going to try to do more speeding bullets on this just because I'm reading some fun stuff during the week that I think we should shout out. I especially want to do with the Vertigo stuff, just to make sure people are aware that these are coming out. And I'm excited for this new line to be coming back again. All right, KO Knightfight #3. Joshua Williamson's the writer. Dan Moore is the artist. Triona Farrell on colors. Tom Napolitano on letters. Cover by Dan Morrow. Variant covers by Ludo Lulabi. Lulabi. It's Lullabi. Riley Rossmo and Jeff Spokes. James Reed is the assistant editor. Rob Levin is the editor. Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger. Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. And This Knightfight story, it's funny. I've loved everything we've done with Hard Traveling Heroes. I've deliberately stayed away from this because I wanted to walk into this with impressions of each week as we were going through. And man, am I digging being back in Knightfight again.
Yes.
This crossover miniseries has been one of my favorite ones, just because of it's exploring so much of Batman's psyche. And the Heart's really trying to tap into that. I love rebellious Batman. And I love when we've got Batman's like, you can try to screw with me all you want to. It's not happening. Yeah. I'm Batman.
Yes, and that for me is one of the coolest things on this is that Batman's not playing by his rules. Mm-hmm. He's got his own way of handling, and he's going to handle it his own way. And I love that. This was when this first came out, we're like, what's going on here? Batman gets eliminated. Oh no, he's still got a whole side story now. He's got a whole something going on. And one of the things I loved about this was we talked about the first two issues before. We took a little break while everything gets going on, ramped up with KO. Now we're back. I don't know about you, but I didn't go back and reread 1 and 2. I wanted to see how going into 3, how I'd be. And I'll tell you, you jump right in, and I was good to go, even though issue 3 starts mid-fight between him and Jason Todd. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And as soon as it started, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what was going on. He thought he was Clayface, this, and then all this kind of. Then I remembered what was going on with Jason's version of Gotham, and it all flooded back to me in a heartbeat. And I'll tell you, I loved how this played out, again, with Bruce not completely playing by the way the Heart wants him to do it. He's like, he was supposed to kill Jason. No, he doesn't kill Jason. He saves him. Why? Because he's Batman. And then he's like, Jason will figure this out together. And I love just that. Again, when Bruce is now really starting to realize stuff about himself. It's his own personal growth. And especially he's talking about, I always said I was a loner, but that's a lie. I was never really alone. I had you and your brothers and sisters. I surrounded myself with people constantly. I'm sorry you had to do this. And I was like, right there, Batman realization, Batman growing. And I love how, as the years have been going on with Batman, a lot of the writers are doing this to Bruce. They're letting him grow, letting him evolve, letting him make realizations. We're seeing a Bruce Wayne that will be able to one day retire. He'll be able to pass on the mantle to either his son or any of his other sons. And there will be a Batman in Gotham City, but it may not be Bruce Wayne. The Batman Beyond, that version may happen where he's sitting at the cave, he's playing the role that Penny One did. I could 100% see this Batman saying, it's time for me to step aside. It's time for the next generation of the Bat to come into play. Now, is it going to be tomorrow? No. But I see this Bruce Wayne eventually giving up the mantle.
Huge mistake if it be tomorrow. Because what you've got now is a Batman that you can... And we're seeing this in the comics. Are you caught up on the Fraction book? The Matt Fraction Batman book?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're seeing a Batman that's evolved in that book. He's continuing to grow and evolve. And we're seeing... What I love about it is, I used to hearken it before like he was going back to like what the 70s Batman was. I like that he's not. And let me explain why. I think what you're getting now is you're getting writers that were influenced by that era, but they're doing a new Batman for now. He went through all this stuff. He went through the things we're seeing in Knightfight. He's a Batman that has grown, but he's still Batman. He's still got some of the Batman issues and things like that we see along the way. I'm digging so much that the Fraction book feels like it's something that is happening after this, if it makes any sense, or at least concurrently. I would imagine it has to be after this because he can't be doing that while he's doing this. So, but I'm really liking that book, feeling like the Bruce Wayne that's in there has been through this, and he's evolved in some way. That book I'm really digging. Did you see we're getting a Robin series?
Yes. Looking forward to that.
Fraction's going to write a Robin series. I'm really jonesing for that because I'm liking his Batman so much, and I like his Tim Drake in it. So him taking a Tim Drake series and bringing that back to the forefront, I'm very excited for it because that book's been so good.
Oh, God, yeah. He knows the Bat family. And again, everything you were saying, I'm 100% agreeing with you. This Batman I'm reading reads like that Batman.
Yes.
And I love that. Again, it's one of those things that I was like, dang, this is some really cool stuff about, again, the growth and evolution of Batman. It's not enough to put some gray hair some gray in his hair to say, oh, he's older. No, he needs to grow as a person. And we're seeing that. And again, in the Matt Fraction book, we're seeing that growth. That Batman as well. I can see that Batman as one day retiring. Well, not yet. But one day recognizing I need to step down and I need to pass the mantle on.
Remember, he's technically younger. Because remember, he died and came back?
Right.
So, like, he's technically not...
No, yeah.
No, I'm saying this in a good way. I'm saying, like, there's an acknowledgement. I'm agreeing with your gray hair analogy. Like, you don't need gray hair here. He died and came back with that whole bit where he used the machine to bring himself back and all that kind of thing. So am I right? He's technically younger because of all that?
Yeah, he refreshed himself. So, and again, that is something that they can eventually they can do that again with Bruce, do a refresher kind of his physical form, and so I could see him saying, hey, I need to basically go pulling out a clone body and loading his mind into it. I could eventually see Bruce doing that, but I can also see Bruce getting to a point where he's like, what? Time to pass it on. And again, that's something I love about how Bruce Wayne Batman is being written now across all the titles. He's recognizing his mortality. He's recognizing that, hey, I'm not the loner that I always said I was. I've got a family who surrounds me. I need to have around me. And that's the key. Bruce Wayne is recognizing he does need to have this family unit around him.
I look at that as less about, let me first of all say, ditto to everything you said about Succession. So let's set that as its own lane. This isn't a contradiction. I also like that it's affecting the way he operates. I think we're seeing a better Batman. As he continues to grow and evolve, and it's less about the obsession with control. He's only going to have certain elements of that because he's Batman. But I like that his reliance on his partners and learning to trust and rely on his partners is making him actually a better Batman. I think the Fraction book is showing an evolution of that. They're dealing with a Gotham right now where he can't really rely on the police the way that he used to because they don't like him much because of things that are going on. And there's a smear campaign on him. But I like that this Batman is a guy who can weather that storm because he's not alone. He's not functioning alone. And I think we got to see that story where Bruce lost the money, kind of went and became a loner and did his own thing. And now he's come out the other side. And, he's got money again. There's another evolution because he's Bruce Wayne. He figured out a way to get back to a certain level of operating that he used to be. And I really like that. I like that it wasn't a quick snap of the fingers. We're seeing a different kind of growth of the character that I think is just far interesting. And that's when we got this sequence where the Heart is crafting these worlds that are living and thriving, where Jason is this loner, where he made the decision to sacrifice himself for Gotham, and Bruce is appealing to him, and Jason's hearing all of the things he wanted to hear from Bruce all along. And I love that the Heart is rebelling against that. Yeah. The Jason sequence in the beginning was so awesome. And seeing Batman then shifted to inside the Heart, and basically the Heart saying, all right, you think you're so smart? Let me tell you what's going on outside of here right now. The Joker's winning. And I love that he's basically, the Heart's teasing him with, listen, you start playing ball with me, I might throw you back in the game, which is an interesting little tease.
Yes.
And shows that the original group that we saw in there is not necessarily the way this game's going to go. And I like that. I like that now we're hitting the point where we got some twists and turns that are ready to come in this.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah. And again, how much of the Heart is just the Heart messing with Bruce? How much is it true? You don't know. And I love the fact that Bruce calls him out. Why should I trust you? You can't. I love the fact that the Heart threw that out there. Because, again, the Heart is a separate entity from Darkseid. This is something completely different than Darkseid. So it's got its own agenda. And I love the fact that we're starting to get a little bit more understanding of who the Heart is through this side story. And it's we both have been throwing out ideas how we think DCKO is going to end, and sometimes we're thinking how it's going to end and all that. And I love the fact that every time I read a new part of it, I start to change my opinion, because it's no longer cut and dry of does Darkseid win or Darkseid lose. This sequence with the Heart really showing its own personality has really kind of put some question in my mind. Maybe Darkseid wins and the Heart says, no, I don't want you to have it. I'm having too much fun messing with these humans. Maybe the Heart is going to keep messing around and doing its own little thing on the side. Maybe the Heart is going to do exactly what it's doing here to Batman to Darkseid. So there's so many different ways this story can go out, or whoever wins, or whoever is the champ.
Well, here's the thing. Has the Heart been doing that all along with Darkseid?
Maybe.
Feeding the beast, if that makes any sense. I think the Heart found in the evil that is Darkseid and the motivations and the drive that is Darkseid, I think the Heart found some perverse pleasure in all of that. And based on what we're seeing here, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of the story as well. I'm with you that every layer that's uncovered of this story adds to more speculation. I love that this is a journey the writing teams, and I say use teams because of the fact that there's multiple writing teams working on this. I love this is a journey they're taking us through. And I love that I'm enjoying speculating, but I'm welcoming the twists and turns as they throw them in. The Heart being one of them. This then switching to like a twisted version of Clue.
Yes.
By the way, with an amazingly cool Batman outfit. Because I do like Clue Batman's outfit. I mean, it's I'm a fan of the changing Batman outfits. And there's a McFarlane Toys Asbats figure that's out. It's the Asbats costume, but in black. It doesn't come in black. It's like $130, which right now I've had some expenses lately, so I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. And I'm trying to go to Heroes Con this year, which is trying to be I'm trying to be a little subdued. But I am a huge fan of the Asbats costume. I always was. Going back to the original, there was an artwork that was on previews of the Asbats costume before we knew that it was Jean-Paul Valley. Right. And we thought it might be Bruce. I thought it might be Bruce. I'm like, whoa, wow, Bruce is going to get this whole thing going on with Bane, and he's coming back with a new outfit and that type of thing, not knowing that they were replacing Bruce at the time, because the preview it was a great shot of that costume and Catwoman on the cover, so I didn't know what was happening yet. It's an example of where sometimes teases aren't such a bad thing when they leave them a little vague.
Yes. And
I've always loved that costume ever since. In black, it's sweet because the cape's all black instead of the blue that it was before. Nightfall is one of my short list favorite Batman stories, all the way straight through to Night's End, into the Denny O'Neil Azrael series, which was great. If you're a listener of this and you never read Denny O'Neil's Azrael, it's a really good book. Especially the first year of it in particular was excellent. That's not knocking the rest of it. It was just, it's either going to be for you or it's not. And I think you'll find that out. It had Barry Kitson artwork, which was just stunning. So definitely check. Did you read any of that? The original solo Azrael series?
Yes and no. I think I've read a couple issues, but I don't truly remember what happens in it. So what it probably was I probably borrowed issues from people and read them, but didn't really. I've never gone back since. Present me, who actually is reads more responsibly and actually studies the work and dives into it.
Yeah.
Versus college me, who borrowed a book from somebody. Because again, my buddy, I've mentioned him before, Joe. I knew throughout college, great guy. He used to let me borrow comics all the time. Yeah, and he's the guy who actually introduced me to Tim Drake Robin, introduced me to John Stewart. He was the guy who really got me reading DC, because he was a DC fan as well. And he's like, oh, you want to read hey, this is a good one. And he was the guy who let me borrow books, and then I'd start buying them from Young's Newsstand. And I started buying my own books while in college. But I know I probably read some of his, but to be honest, No idea.
So here's the
I
hook.
got it's on my short list to go back to.
So here's the hook, and I'll leave it at this. It goes into the system quite a bit more. Remember, that was what was driving Azrael, and that was the difference between him and Bruce, was the fact that he had this system inside of him that he was trained for. It goes more into that order. It's him after everything that happens in Night's End. So you get to see the reaction to that and him building a life after all of that. It's really good. It's Denny O'Neil, who I just think Denny O'Neil's an amazing writer. And it's really cool. So definitely worth seeking out. Anyway, how I got to that was just because of the cool costume here. I was thinking of the other cool costume I saw recently that I want to purchase. I want that on my shelf somewhere. And this is really good. I love the murder mystery because this is a Batman who clearly his interaction is much more police partnership with the police. He doesn't have to do violence that much. He's leaning heavily into his detective work, which he seems to be really enjoying. They're trying to give Bruce not Bruce, I'm sorry. It's Tim.
Right.
They're trying to give us a lens into what Tim's Batman would be. And what I'm digging about it so much is you keep talking about Succession. This was a lane I didn't expect, because at first I keep going back to it's Bruce. It's not. I kept thinking it was Bruce when I first saw it. It's Tim, and what I love about that is Tim's Batman would be different. And yes. I've always wanted to see this Succession, because I do think Tim would be the perfect Batman.
And that was the thing I always remembered. That was one of the reasons I loved Tim Drake so much as Robin.
Yes.
Because when he first came on the scene, I was like, this is the heir apparent. This is the person who is going to take on the mantle of Bat. And I've always thought that in my head until Damian gets around. And once they bring in Damian, I'm like, oh, I'd kind of like to see Damian Batman. I would like to see that. That's actually kind of cool. So it's one of those things where Damian is kind of my forefront, but I always can see Tim as Batman. And what would a Tim Drake Batman look like? Right here, we're seeing it. A more heavy, just the gadgets, or more Tim style, but you still had the bow staff. And I loved how this played out when we're seeing this. Because you get there, you're watching the Bat in action in the Clue story where he's breaking it down. Then he gets physical, and it wasn't until I saw him get physical with the bow staff, I'm like, oh, this is Tim. Oh, that is awesome. And again, knowing that it's Tim, reread that first couple pages and you're like, okay, yeah, I want to see Tim Drake doing this breakdown, doing this, because Tim is the great detective of all of them. Of all of Bruce's sons, Tim is the best of the detective work. And I loved seeing just how this played out.
I love that he's still collaborating with Cassandra and Stephanie. And I love that whole team up that's still going there. When he's walking in the Batcave and you get to see a full shot of that bat suit, it reminds me of what I like about the new Flash suit. It feels very today, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I just dig the design sensibilities of it. It's like I wish we got that. Like if they throw that suit in a statue, I'll buy it in an instant.
In a heartbeat, yeah.
Yeah, I love when they start screwing around with the Batman outfit and do like really cool things, just like I do with Flash. And I'm Absolute Superman, like the new thing that they've done. Are you caught up on that book?
Yes.
The new thing they've done with his cape and everything like that, I think it's just way cool. DC's nailing it right now. I feel like there's so much stuff I'm enjoying and excited about, but a lot of it is artistic design as well in DC right now. They're having some fun, and I'm digging and enjoying the ride on all the fun right now.
Oh, God, yeah. And I tell you, this is a brilliant story, but we cannot throw out the artwork. And one, that costume's amazing. No. But when he's in the Batcave, I loved all the various armored versions, the robotic versions of the bat suit out there. But then there's the display case. The the 3 Robin costumes, and then there's a Batman costume there. Again, we've had multiple Robins die, and he's got the display case. He's got that showing the different Robins. One is probably that's his old.
And Bruce is dead.
And Bruce is dead in this.
Yeah.
So that's the Bruce costume that he died in. And I love the fact that we've got the display case that has all of that displayed in there. I was like, that's cool, man.
This thing in the heart for Bruce is pretty intense because he's living lives in these worlds. So and it really struck me. He broke into the computer. That was the way that he was trying to hack his way in because he's not in a physical body. His body's dead here. Yeah. So he's got to be a presence, and he's trying to get into some form of robot so he can actually have a conversation with Tim. This has taken him a significant amount of time to pull off. So imagine being like stuck in that. The Heart really screwed him over with this one.
Oh, God, yeah. You know, and again, the Heart said he was going to mess with his mind, body, and heart. Yeah. He was going to mess with Bruce's soul on this one. And I loved how the Heart's actually doing that. And again, this for me was a great combination of good storytelling and action, and it was just everything keeping you going. Because again, as Bruce shows up, Tim's like, it doesn't matter. I'm shutting you out now. And Tim knew what was going on behind him. He knew that waited till the last moment and did his strike. And I love the fact that Tim's initially like, okay, rogue AI, not even buying the story, but it's not until Bruce starts giving him the details that only Bruce knew, right? I was like, oh, that is awesome. I love the fact that initially Tim, again, is able to do some deductive reasoning based on what Bruce is saying, based on how he's saying what's going on there. I thought that, again, was cool.
I've decided what I want. I want a Knightfight Dan Mora statue series. I want the Dick Grayson one. I want the Jason Todd one. I want the Tim Drake one. I also want 2 different versions of Batman, Bruce Wayne. I want a hologram Batman. Like, I want it to look like a hologram like this, because I think that's pretty darn sweet. But I also want one of the other outfits where we've seen him interacting in this particular world with a physical one. I would buy every one of those statues, and I don't need them. They shouldn't be released the same month. But if they made a series of these, I would buy them in an instant. Dan Mora, I love Dan Mora's artwork. I'm just becoming a huge, huge fan, and I love design sensibilities. And wow, this is just really good.
One of the things I love, attention to detail. And this is in the hologram version, but also the real version we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
The bat symbol on Bruce's chest, it goes down into those front compartments that he has.
Yes, yes.
But not only does it just go down, on some of the previous pages, you see on the top of the compartments, it continues.
Yes.
So it's not just the visual when you're looking front, above and all that. Little attention to detail on the artwork to continue the symbol. They could have ended the symbol right before those front compartments, but I love the fact that they didn't do that.
Bruce wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because the symbol's important.
Yeah.
So I love that the design sensibility matches the way Batman operates. That symbol means something. And it's got to be out there in the forefront. The whole situation with Bruce and Tim having this interchange and it being very different than what we got with Dick and Jason, because Dick and Jason's worlds were different, I thought was really great. And I love Bruce is sitting here saying, you don't want to solve this mystery. And I loved that little piece where he's sitting here saying, like, listen, and it wasn't faulting him. He was explaining, like, there's a danger to solving this mystery. There's a reason why you don't want to solve this mystery and what it means for you. That's how well he knows Tim. I love that he knows these kids, these charges of his so well that he's able to have those real conversations. This is a dad and son conversation that you're having here. And to me, one of the best things that's happened in comics right now has been Tim Drake and Bruce teaming up again. And I know it's leading to the Tim Drake solo series and all that, but Tim Drake has been one of my favorite characters since Lonely Place of Dying. And the fact that we kind of lost our way with him, where he got lost in the background because of Damian. And I loved all the Damian stories, so I'm not like knocking Damian stories. But I think they did not know really what to do with the character of Substance to try and to keep him going. They had great like mini-series and short story content with him, but trying to get him going in a ongoing situation, there have been stumbles along the way because I think it's been hard to plan for him. I think I'm confident that Fraction has a plan, and I'm anxious to see where this is going to go because I'm geeking out at Knightfight and the handling of Tim Drake right here.
This again, yeah. Everything you said, 100% agree with you. I'm like, yes, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I think we got a good creator who knows how to write how to write the Bat family. So I'm looking forward to seeing him do Tim. But I did love how this father-son moment between them. I mean, Bruce is like, look at my utility belt. What is missing? And I love the fact that it's that little bit right there. And Tim's like, oh my God, I know who killed you. And you get this great moment, and I'm like, and I wanted to know who killed Bruce, And sure enough, no, we leave. So that's something. I hope there's a side story, Tales of Tim Drake Batman, that we find out who actually killed Bruce, because I was a little mad. I was mad along with Tim there.
Well, and do we get that in issue 4? I don't know. Do we get?
I don't think so.
I know. And it was an interesting way to leave it. But I love that the Heart is just pushing back against him, saying, you are not playing by my rules. And I love that he pulls everybody in, including Asbats.
Yeah.
We've got Stephanie Brown. We've got Duke. We've got our other Batman, which I miss him.
Yes. I
miss Next Batman. I was really enjoying that whole storyline with him. And I'm hoping we get more with, it was Jace, right? I hope we get more with him, because I was really digging that exploration. There were rumors of a movie for a while, and I don't. That seems to have stalled somewhere. I'd still love to see that. Oh, especially, Gunn talked about they have these Elseworlds things going on. I hope we maybe still get that one. But both Batgirls, and I do love the Asbats. that variation of the.
That is a cool look.
So he wakes up in the hospital. This is the last piece that they're throwing at him. And this conclusion's an interesting one, where it's Damian coming to see him and seeing this evolution of Damian. We're seeing a little bit of an older Damian now who seems very much at peace, which is not something we're used to seeing with Damian. Although in current continuity, I think we are getting a Damian who's heading in that direction, which is interesting to see with the character. So the idea of now, hey, you want to keep rebelling against all of this? Well, how about I give you a world that you probably don't want to rebel against? One where you've got a grandson named Alfred, and we're going to introduce you to this kid. This is a twist. Batman, and I love it's called Batman versus Happiness, is kind of the cliffhanger off of this one.
Oh, God, yeah. And here's the thing. I love the fact that Damian realizes this world is not real. It's not like he's like, I can see cracks in reality in my peripheral vision. Whatever built it made me too smart, too much like what I imagine the real me is like. And this is all part of some cosmic contest.
Yeah.
You are real. This was made to manipulate you.
Yeah.
I love the fact that this Damian has realization. He knows he's not real, but this is his life. He has a son. Bruce has a grandson. So if Bruce destroys this universe, what happens to Damian? What happens to Alfred? I love just how I love how the Heart is messing with so much with Bruce. This is now not going to be a physical contest for Bruce. And as you said, I love the name, Batman vs. Happiness. This is, can Bruce Wayne have a happy ending to his life? Or must he always be in suffering?
But here's what the Heart's done differently on this one. All the cards are on the table. This world's fake. Damian knows it's fake. But here's the problem. Damian knows it's fake, and what am I supposed to do on this one? Look what's at stake for me. I got a kid. You got a grandkid. How do I let that go? Such an interesting dilemma now. We've put that out there. I love it. I love that the Heart's done this twist. It's smart. It's edgy. This is just terrific writing.
Oh, God, yeah.
I love this story since the first issue. I had no idea it was going to go here. And I love it. I love the journey that's going on. This is an example, even if that this is where it's going. How you get here is the key. Joshua Williamson. I'll tell you what, Joshua Williamson's was writing G.I. Joe over in that new Energon universe. I've got the issues stockpiled so far. And this is an example of a writer. Joshua Williamson's writing it. I think, is he the one that's going to do Iron Man 2, I think, over at Marvel? I don't know. I anything Joshua Williamson does, I'm just going to follow just because.
I see his name. Yeah, he's a name that I see it, I pick it up.
It's always good. It's always good. The Flash run was fantastic. I mean, everything is just really solid. This is an example of that. Man, it's a good time to be a comic fan when you're getting this kind of storytelling. This is, I missed this. I'm really glad to be back talking about DC KO because of books like this. And this is a great read. DCKO number 3?
Well, do we want to do Aquaman?
It's not. You're going in the wrong order. We're going in order. We're going in the right order.
Okay.
I'm following reading order.
Okay, no, I get you. But what happens in Aquaman kind of happens before.
We could do it that way if you want to.
No, it doesn't matter to me. I'll do 3 next.
What do we do? We'll do Aquaman. I get what you're saying. I'm actually agreeing. I'm willing to punt. I'm listening to your point, and I actually agree with it. So let's talk about Aquaman number 13, because I'm with you. Actually, storytelling wise, it's probably better served to do it this way. You made a powerful argument, so I'm willing to punt. I've been doing this according to the release checklist that I've been following, so I was kind of sticking to the checklist. But you actually, I think your veto works on this one. So let's go with it. So Aquaman number 13, A Gift for a Queen. Jeremy Adams is the writer, Daniel Bayliss on art, Rex Locus on colors, Dave Sharp on letters, John Timms on the main cover, Nathan Zerdy, Kyung Eom. It's KYUYONGEOM, and it's SAOWEE on the variant covers. Apologies for any name butchery there. Michael McAllister, associate editor. Paul Kaminsky is the editor. Aquaman created by Paul Norris and Mort Weisinger. Supergirl based on the characters created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. And honestly, this Aquaman title, it's funny when you're sitting there, do Aquaman first, you want to do that? I love Aquaman right now. This is such a good title with what's going on here. And it's the focus on Mira and Mira's childhood in the beginning of opening up in this particular issue was something that was really great for me. You and I became very big Mira fans during the whole Blackest Night, Brightest Day sequences. I thought I was a fan of Mira beforehand, but it really kicked it up to 11 for me because I remember enjoying so much during the Peter David run Dolphin and much more of the focus on, I was a Dolphin fan back in those days. But Mira has become somebody that I've just really grown to love. I'm starting to read older Aquaman now, just going back to the early stuff because I don't have a lot of exposure to it. And I'm really enjoying that. I remember as a kid seeing some Aquaman cartoons with Aquaman and Aqualad riding seahorses and stuff like that. I remember that piece. But and I remember always wanting more. This is an example of Mira. The more I learn about Mira and the lore that they're crafting here with it, my gosh, this is an example where artwork is key. The way that they've crafted the underworld in all of this, Little Mermaid, the movie Little Mermaid, when that hit, the art style of that, it was just something different. And if you were watching animation at the time, it was something where like, oh, wow, this is a different level of what they were doing. The quality of the animation, the way they crafted the undersea world, there was a tone to it that was just really, really cool. It was an edgy Disney at the time. It's something now I think we're so used to that movie that it's hard to appreciate the way that it changed the game. This has some of what I loved in that, in the way that the art is done. I just feel like it makes the underworld cool, the underwater. Give this idea of this vast area with just really cool things to look at, the underground ships, things like that we're seeing. This is really, really cool. Mira being the little kid, I guess it kind of tied into, I'm not saying they're trying to do Little Mermaid here. Don't get me wrong on that. I'm not saying that, but it tied into what I liked about that. I like her character. And you needed that with Little Mermaid with Ariel, right? I really liked Ariel. So this is nailing like everything that I loved about that. I never thought I'd make that connection to Aquaman, but it makes sense. Yeah. And this opening page just to me is just everything I wanted. This book with its twists and turns, it's got some really strong writing. I love that we were right about certain things, but not the how. Like, I didn't know what the how was going to be. And that's an example of they can telegraph something that's going on, but surprise you with how they're doing it. And I think this is an important issue. If you're an Aquaman reader, this is a key issue to be reading right now because, oh boy, it starts to open the gateways of what's really happening here. Oh, it's that.
Yes. Well, one of the things I loved about this book, again, the jumping back and forth between time showing young Mira, how it affects present Mira and all that kind of beautiful stuff going on there. And as well as how by the end it fully explains what's happening in Aquaman universe. What caused all these problems? Who is the true villain? And I do air quotes around villains because there's going to be she's going to be one of those villains that you're like, yes, she's a bad guy, but I kind of understand what she's doing. Yes, she's crazy and going to be possibly trying to destroy the world, but in her mind, she's not thinking that way. And I love that we're going to have multiple, especially next issue, we're going to have multiple discussions on the villain of this story.
Oh, yes.
Because again, it's, there's going to be, there's that nice little brilliant gray area of, yes, she's a villain, but I understand why she's a villain. And this issue did a brilliant job with giving us that background to make us think about what's going on with her and what's going on with her people. Because they always talk about how the Atlanteans push them aside and lock them away. Well, we're seeing they locked them inside this bubble that they could not get out of. So they're stuck there. And all they could do is anytime wreckage came in. And this was the prison that the Atlanteans put their people in. And it further explains why when this version of Mira first came on scene, she wanted to kill Arthur.
Yeah.
Why she was sent there not to be his love, but to be his assassin. And you understood where she came from. And this is kind of giving us a little bit more education on the clashes of the Atlanteans. And I always mispronounce her people. I always say Zeeble, but it's not. I know I don't know how that's actually supposed to be pronounced. So if I say Zeeble, I'm talking about Mira's people. Yeah. So just clarification for everybody.
Wouldn't it be Zebel?
I don't know.
I'm not going to ever pretend I know.
When you get a pronunciation in your head, that was the first way I pronounced it in my head. So I've always said that. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You're going to hear me mess up.
Well, you heard me with the Jean-Paul Valley. It's actually Jean-Paul. Yeah. And I revert back to what I did for years before I knew, because I was younger on those days. So I didn't know Jean would be the pronunciation. Yeah, exactly.
As in Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. I mean, so I'm with you. I do it all the time on this show where I revert back to what I did for years in my head. And then you kind of, after issue after issue after issue, it's hard not to. Yeah. I do the same thing with Ra's al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul. It's always Raz until now. It's my understanding it's supposed to be Raish. I'm going to defer to Denny O'Neil on that one.
Yes.
I love that we don't know yet his motivation. Like, he's coming in there with a killer instinct, and we don't know why yet. Like, we assume it's because of the history of what's going on there, but in the story you get to reveal later on that I don't even know that you're you, which he's coming in, and I love that rereading this gives a whole different spin on him. You're kind of much more sympathetic to him when he's coming in, because you're kind of like, oh, I get it. He thinks that, like, she is not who she looks like.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those, I love when a story makes you realize the bad guy's not the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Because in the last issue, when he first showed up, he was like, yeah, blood in his eye, ready to kill her. And now you understand completely why. And I do love the fact that she's kind of able to get to him.
Right.
And able to reason with him, but also kind of like a smack to the face, kind of get him back into reality to the point where he's able to explain it. And again, this is brilliance of the power of the page flip, where you have the little bit, then we flip into the fight, and then you flip back, and now we're talking back on Aquaman and Hawkman.
Well, and this is where it doesn't really predate DCKO. It's partway through DCKO number 3. It's why I was kind of like, I don't know that we want to talk about this ahead of time because we haven't talked about the team-ups yet. But each of the heroes is meant to team up with somebody. And they have, one of them has, and we'll talk about it in DCKO number 3, one of them has a unique menu of choices that the others do not have.
Yes.
While the team members that are still existing get to pull somebody who was in the tournament. And I love that Aquaman went to Hawkman. And the question becomes, and it's something we're going to discuss in DCKO number 3. How much does he tell Hawkman? Now, the fact, like, listen, I had to pull you back because I killed you. But I love his choice, and I love the fact that they gave us a little placeholder as far as if you're not reading DCKO right now, this is what Aquaman's doing right now. This is why he's not in his book this issue. So let's go back and take a look at his quote-unquote daughter, because that's not her, right?
No.
Yeah.
That's not his daughter.
Because we got the confirmation here that that's not her at all, right?
Correct.
This doesn't make them that person. This makes them have the look like that person and be able to. So that's one of the reasons why we've been suspecting her all along, because of the fact that she is not who she says she is.
Yeah. Last panel of this issue reveals that is Mira's mother. Flat out. Yeah. And the other versions, the older versions of the Atlanteans that were with Mira's daughter weren't those people. They were Zeebles who the queen aged and changed their appearance to look like older versions of everybody. So that those individuals that Arthur interacted with when he rescued his daughter from the Blue wasn't those people. It was Mira's mother, the queen, and other Zeebles who were made to look like Atlanteans. And again, that's the reveal later in this issue. So yes, we're spoiling it, but we're only spoiling a couple pages before. And I do love that knowing who this is now. Yes, a lot of this stuff completely rereads better.
Oh, sure does.
And here's the thing: when I say better, I don't want to sound like I didn't, because you listen to the tape. I loved what we were doing. I
don't know that it's better as much as it makes sense now.
Yeah,
and it's an example. It's an example of how you build a mystery.
Yes, because we were sitting there going, "Huh, what's going on with her?" And we both had that what is happening here kind of vibe, because again, she had a violence to her that we're like, now, and I remember we kind of like dismissed it, not dismissed it, but we rationalized it given the way she grew up, given how she thinks. That would make sense that she would have that level of violence. No, it's because who she is.
But doesn't that make it more realistic that you're doing that? Because that's what Aquaman would be doing. That's what, you know what I mean? Yes. So it's how did she get away with all of this? It's everything we were justifying, and it feels so real. This is, for people that never read the Peter David run, one of the reasons you should seek it out is it's this quality. And I say that with immense compliments to Jeremy Adams and what's being done here. He's brought back to this book this level of quality. This is what I love about great Aquaman storytelling. Aquaman was a can't-miss book when Peter David was writing it. This is a can't-miss book. I look forward to these issues. One of the hardest things about our little sidestep into Hard Traveling Heroes, first of all, great reading in Hard Traveling Heroes, but I set this aside because I did not want to read it until we were reading it for DCKO and doing it for this purpose. I could not wait to get back to this. Knowing that this was going to be this week and one of the issues I was going to read was nothing but geek out for me. Love this book. And I love Aquaman as a character because of it. Jeremy Adams is a writer. This is now a writer who, again, is getting on my radar as somebody who, because of the handling of Aquaman, I'm really digging. I'm aware of Jeremy Adams' work before this one. This is the book that's connecting with me. It's in a very different way. It's not knocking anything that he's done before, but if you were to say, where's your real jump on point with Jeremy Adams? It's this. This is really good.
And again, also let's one, yes, completely agree. Love the story, love the writing, but also love this artwork. This is some great artwork. This is one of those the creative teams that are firing on all cylinders, working well together. I love ripping a parademon in half,
Yeah.
And again, the violence of the queen here is absolutely brilliant. I love this.
And this is an attempt to, she's just like, not the Justice League, it's time to gather the kingdoms. She's planning something big.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. I'm finding this character so compelling. And you're right, flipping back to Mira's childhood and seeing more of her story there is something so interesting, because this leads to the eventual introduction of the statue. And the statue being something that was so important to her in her childhood, not recognizing that it was symbolic of an actual real, like, a connection to an actual real person.
Right. And again, I love these father-daughter moments with the king dealing with all the craziness he's got, and you keep flipping back and forth, and we start getting more of the story happening, more of our first appearance of their daughter, where she's there to claims she could free Zeeble and she could revenge on Atlantis, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the daughter. Oh boy, this is awesome. And I love it. Again, as I'm reading this, you're learning as it's unfolding. And we see the daughter there. So now we're like, okay, so that's not an actual daughter. That's somebody else. Who is that? And I love this, how they build the mystery to the final page of the issue before they truly reveal who that is.
Well, and the assumption being the daughter because she looked so much like Mira.
Right.
And there's a reason
she looked,
but it's the reverse. And it's Mira looks like her, not the other way around.
Yes. And again, I loved the scene when she's giving them the pills and having them change their appearance. And then that's the first, like, that's old Garth. Oh, that's old. Oh, that is awesome. And all the pieces just start fitting into place. Mm-hmm. And I love that they're doing this kind of visually. Yeah, he's telling the story to Mira of what happened. So you've got the commentary and the dialogue boxes, but the true part of the story that's being told is in images. And again, that's something that's awesome for me. And even showing the big flash of blue and everything left. That's the blue that the Aquaman encounters. So he doesn't encounter actually Atlantis. He encounters this version. He encounters this is what he goes into, what he frees. I love that. And just as you're getting these cool moments, the writing team says, oh, hey, let's give you some more action sequences. Let's hit you again. That for me is a great balance of a story where we get these serious, really cool moments and I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. Flip the page and boom, now we're back into some action again. Let's show that Mira can kick some butt. And as you said, in Blackest Night is my love of Mira was born. I always love seeing her as this fierce warrior. You see that, but you also see her as the queen. You see her, there's so many different levels to Mira as a character. And I love the fact grabs a rusty pipe, that's going to work because it's kind of like a trident for her. So it's got that same fight mechanics that she's going to use for if she was a true trident. I love these action sequences, but also love the strategery that she's got. You've got, again, these are all old abandoned ships down there that have been rotten. And she was told as a kid, stay out of that one, it's going to crumble any day now. So he's like, well, let's use that.
Yep.
I love how Mira is very intelligent. She knows what she's doing. She's a little bit of a risk taker. She's a little bit of a wild child, but this was some seriously calculated risk, and I loved seeing that.
It's also a different level of combat, right? Did you ever watch the TV show Man from Atlantis?
Yes.
As a kid. So I always I was fascinated by underwater shows and stuff like that. It was, again, that was like a superhero show, for lack of a better way of putting it. It was in our childhood. We got those every so often. And I always loved that, like, he had to do things different because he was underwater. You know, I love that they played into that in that show. Very early days to start experimenting with that. Her combat, taking advantage of underwater, it's like what do we love about seeing Dick Grayson versus Batman, right? It's a different type of combat. Seeing Mira in this and seeing her in her environment, this is when Aquaman gets cool as a book. It's when you really lean heavily into stuff like this, and we get to see that. I'm with you on her strategy. I think it's something that is amazingly cool about this character, is seeing that she's skilled. She's not a newbie. She has a history. She's trained. She is a warrior. And seeing her here, even though she doesn't have the same power set that she did, right? Because of what happened with...
She no longer has the aqua telekinetics that went into Arthur.
Right. So I love seeing that, like, that doesn't throw her off of the table. She's got something different coming here. I'm hoping this story arc may lead to some form of power restoration for her in this sequence, just because I love her like this. And if it doesn't, I'm super cool. But I don't want anything taken away from Arthur, because I love what's going on with him. Although, take me on this journey wherever you're going to go with him, because I love what they're doing in Aquaman right now. I'm fascinated.
I trust this creative team. And again, one of the things I love is combat underwater is different than combat on land, which is different than space combat or aerial combat. Each of the different, depending on where you are, you're going to do different stuff. And I love the fact that they're recognizing, again, this team is recognizing, hey, underwater combat's going to be a little bit different. So we need to make sure it looks a little bit different. How they do stuff is going to be a little bit different. I loved that. And they've been doing that throughout the Aquaman run. It's not just this issue. Right. So I want to make sure I'm clarifying on that. They really have an understanding of what it would be like to fight underwater, and they're giving us those kind of differences than what we would see in the air.
This is where I love crossovers, because I feel there's people that are going to be picking up this book because they're enjoying DC that aren't currently reading Aquaman. It is so worth seeking out, because we're only 13 issues in. It's so worth seeking out the issues leading up to DCKO if you've not been reading this. Yes. So do yourself a favor and jump on this series. We don't work for DC. We don't make any money off of that anyway. I'm just trying to give you some darn good reading to go and check out. Nice part nowadays is you can go look for the floppies. You can get them digitally. You can read them on the DC app. You can get trades. There's so many different ways to grab these issues that basically fit your collecting needs. It's nice nowadays that you can grab them. However, I've become a big fan of collected editions. Yes. My last order, it hurt.
Yeah, I know, man.
Oh, one other thing I got, that Superman Spider-Man Treasury Edition came out.
Oh, nice.
And it is gorgeous. If you missed this and you haven't ever gotten the Treasury edition of that, do yourself a favor and seek it out. It's like beyond absolute size. So because the Treasuries were bigger than the absolutes. Okay. So if you like giant artwork, it's well worth seeking these out. I hope they reprint all of them. With this new relationship they seem to have with Marvel, I hope DC and Marvel go partner up together however they're doing this. And I want to see Batman Hulk. I want to see all of these just re-released, just because I love all the treasuries that came out that were back in the 70s. I would love to have all of them. My copy as a kid, I've still got my Batman Hulk, but I would love a new reproduction of that. But I'd love the ones I didn't have. And be able to collect all of those, because it was really great. And then I hope they eventually go back and find a way to re-release the book and record sets, just because that was also, some of those were oversized, because when they were the full long 33 1/3 big record, the book matched. So it's well worth seeking those out as well. But this has been just a great time for reading. So back to the Queen, the Evil Queen, who is basically trying to go to the Hall of Kingdoms and rally them. She's doing it by force, and now all pretense is dropped. And we get to see it here very, very quickly, where she's like, you either bow a knee to me, or I'm going to take you out. It's like, we're not like, this isn't a conversation. It's not a debate. You try to oppose me, I'm taking you down. And we get to see her do that. And they're recognizing that she is not who she says she is. They even used the word abomination at one point. I loved everything about that sequence.
Well, and I love the realization, because she's initially addressing them. And the one king's like, who are you? It's like, Queen Mira, no, you bear a striking resemblance. Who are you, girl? It doesn't matter who I am if I can help you defend your kingdoms. And I love the fact that she's dodging that answer. And again, throughout this, we've had the commentary from the one character talking about her and saying, hey, something's not right here. And it's as they're starting to realize. And she's sitting there, and when she tells them, hey, swear your loyalty to me and all your wildest dreams will come true. And then the others are like, wait, hold on. And they're starting to realize, this ain't who they think it is. What's going on? And it's initially the Brine King who's like, no, I don't serve anyone. I serve the brine. And that's your final answer. He gets a thing to the chest. He's done. I love just and again, the look of shock and all the other leaders and all that stuff going, what the heck is going on here? And you truly do see the evil villain come out in this moments. Join me or I will grind your kingdoms into sand on the ocean floor. You don't know why? I thought it would be, you don't know why? Well, I thought it'd be obvious by now. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This right here is a great villain rant. And then
the statue, when we do get to see it, when the young Mira and the father takes her to the statue, we get to see it. I love that when you look at the statue, that's her. I mean, that's how we're seeing her today. So what was that, like her coffin or tomb? What do we call that?
I guess that was her tomb, and something brought her back.
Yeah.
I mean, was it the energy from, because we had massive energy playing around in the universe with the absolute power. Was it absolute power that brought her back? Was it the dark side stuff that brought her back?
Yeah.
I don't know what brought back the queen, Mira's mother, but whatever it did, maybe it corrupted her brain. Maybe she was always evil. I don't know the character. And I'm hoping next issue we get a little bit more backstory on her, whether maybe was she always this evil or was she corrupted by the power she got from wherever it came back to bring her back to life. Because this is 100% her come back to life with some serious power levels. Because they even are talking about it like she's mad with this power she wields. Well, she's out of control. Well, she's gone mad with power, literally mad with power. Because of the energy that's in her, she can't control it. So whatever it was that brought her back, it's kind of like Lazarus Pit stuff, where Lazarus Pit brings you back, but you're a little bit insane when it happens. Big time happened here.
See, now this is convincing me more and more because I'm as I'm getting older, I'm 55. I'm not planning on dying anytime soon. I want to Dick Van Dyke this bad boy. So like I'm at the halfway points the way I'm looking at it. But you got to start thinking about like when you die, what do you want that to look like? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? That type of thing. I want to be shellacked and in somebody's backyard now because a lot of people come back. I mean, it seems to be in comics and film and things like that. You come back. I don't want to be digging myself out of the ground. I don't want somebody gluing my ashes together, that type of thing. I want to be shellacked. I want in somebody's backyard. I want to actually go the Queen route. I think this is the way, like if I'm going to come back, better to be a statue and it's easy to just break out of this statue and I'll go and cause shenanigans. I think that's what needs to happen. Well, she didn't even break out though, because when you take a look at it, these statues actually up and walking around. There's no, the shell that was there was the one behind her, and anything that's left of the statue is what that ivy that was or the whatever the plant was that was at her feet. She just kind of got up, came to life and got up and walked. I want it to be that. So whatever I'm encased in, I want it to be this thing where I can just kind of get up and go. I've seen the zombie movies and stuff like that. I don't want to climb out of a grave and stuff like that. I'm claustrophobic that way. So it really is affecting what I want to put in my will. I don't know how I'm going to make that happen, but I want to be in somebody's backyard shellacked.
That sounds like a plan.
You don't hear about shellac a lot anymore, and I want to bring it back as being as being a third choice.
How about instead of in somebody's backyard, we make you a coffee table?
I don't want to be a coffee table. That's claustrophobic too. Was it 16 Candles where they did that to Farmer Ted? Yeah, that didn't look fun.
Oh, okay.
The not being able to breathe thing. I like that. I don't want any of that. I want to be able to just get up and go. Hopefully during a sunny day. Because it seemed like her escape was kind of pleasant. I got to say this for the Queen. As far as plans go, this seems like it was good.
Yeah, it was a good plan. It worked for her. I mean, again, I want to know what caused it. Was it absolute power or was it dark side? It's one of those two things. Now, because this has got a DCKO tie-in, I'm assuming it was the whole dark side stuff.
Well, isn't it all tied together, though? I mean, couldn't it be both? I mean, couldn't it be absolute power and what happened there?
It could be.
Yeah. I feel like
I know what we got going on here. I'm loving this, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I actually liked it. I'm going to say this. It makes more sense that absolute power would somehow play into this when you think about the changes to the Aquaman book that's come out of absolute power. So is this somehow all interconnected? Or is there something more going on here? What if it's not? What if it's more than that? What if those things just ignited something that was already lying dormant?
Yeah. Again, I think any of the options, and there could 100% be.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going on there. So I think for me, that is something that also, it's the story has me so drawn in. I'm like, yes, give me that, give me that, give me that. Whatever it is, I'm good with it. Because again, this is a creative team right now that I really trust.
I'm very high on this book.
Yeah. When I trust the team, I'm like, you tell me what it's going to happen. I've got theories running through my head because right now my theory is absolute power. I don't think it's a dark side thing. I think it's absolute power. But
I think it's, my theory is it's yes, but I feel there's something else at work here. There's a magic in the Aquaman universe that we see. Mira's powers will come from all of that. I think there's another layer at work here. So if I'm throwing out my own, and this is speculation, by the way. So I'm not disputing you. I could see it being an absolute power thing. I could see it being a dark side thing. But my speculation right now is that there's a whole other layer to this. And that I guess this is my trust in Jeremy Adams. I think they're crafting lore here.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what the lore is. I think there is another layer to this.
100% could be, and I'm happy with it. Again, I'm happy with it. I'm loving this Aquaman story.
Yeah, this is one of I can honestly say that I have trouble ranking because I think it changes from month to month where my favorite books are. But this is easily a top 5 book for me every month. And I do a lot of reading, so when I say that, I don't say it lightly. This is one of those titles. This is a can't miss for me. Yeah. I leap to this first. It's been since issue 1 of this series, this relaunch, that issue 1 captivated me. And I feel all the way through, Aquaman has been one of those titles. This is a solid 13 issues in, a very solid relaunch of a series.
Big time. 100%. Completely agree with you, my friend. Completely agree with you on this one. This is, if you picked up the issue just because of the DCKO tie-in, was it a major tie-in? No, just 2 pages. But you're seeing what's going on in this book. Read Aquaman. This is a solid, wonderful story. 100% recommend it to anybody. And it's one of those things where if I wasn't enjoying Aquaman so much, I would have been angry at just the little bit that's, this is not a DCKO, this is a bait and switch. But I'm getting a great story, so I'm happy with it. I'm happy that, keep doing those 2-page tie-ins. Nothing really advances the story, but again, it's something that I was like, man, this is such a solid story. I'm like, I don't care. I love what I'm reading.
See, I think events should do this, though. And it's one of the pieces that we often as fans are like, well, some of this is a money grab. No, it's not. It's about introducing you to a line. And comic companies should do that with an event. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if we want comics to survive, it needs readership, and it needs your readership to start dipping its toe into more of the line. Also, it needs lapsed readership. So a lot of times events will bring back a DC fan that's like, I haven't read DC in a while. I'm kind of jonesing for it. Let me read DCKO. And it's supposed to give you a menu of the universe when appropriate. And I think Aquaman, overall, when you take a look at all the tie-in issues associated with this, I think Jeremy Adams and his team have done a very good job. This issue, yes, only had a very limited connection to DC, except for the fact that if you look at the previous issues, there's been a lot more connecting to it. And they've done a good job of, I think, giving a right amount of DCKO page balance while getting the story going. So if you're reading the DCKO issues, you're not starting with 13. You've been reading some of the other Aquaman issues leading in. So this issue does make a lot more sense. It's not on its own. It's not a sole issue. So I think they've done a very good job in connecting this with DCKO and at the same time wanting you to stick around for... Yeah, I kind of got into that whole crazy queen thing that's going on over in Aquaman. So this one's probably a bad example as far as the substance of DCKO in it. But at this point, you really should expect that, okay, we really do have to do something with all that. Because remember, there's been limited page count on the Mira stuff in some of the other DCKO issues. Right. So this was a good opportunity to balance that out a little bit and now explain some of the stuff they've been teasing. DCKO number 3. Let's go ahead and jump to that one. No Mercy. Scott Snyder's the writer. Joshua Williamson on the writer for the interlude. Javi Fernandez, the artist. Zermanico on art for the interlude. Alejandro Sanchez is the colorist. Hassan Atsmain, Elhaou on letters. Marquise Draper, the associate editor. Paul Kaminsky is the editor. Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Supergirl based on characters created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. And there's a whole bunch of people that did variant covers for all of this. I'm not going to go through that entire list. No insult meant. We could be here for an hour just shouting them out. I do want to go back to the cover, if I could, though, because I love these DCKO covers where they've got the kind of the black cover that hides the actual image. But when you take a look at this actual image and the maniacal Joker that is there in the front, and Wonder Woman, we've got the vicious Wonder Woman. Now, is this, when we're taking a look at this, is it our Wonder Woman or is it the absolute Wonder Woman? Which Wonder Woman is that?
I think
the absolute, right?
I think that's our Wonder Woman, but she's just got two big old swords in her hand. She's swinging, and she's a fighting.
Okay.
So I think this is a fighting version of our Wonder Woman. I don't think that's absolute Wonder Woman. But she does have those massive swords, which makes you believe it's the other Wonder Woman. And she's got the gladiator kind of armor on the thing. So it is a question. I'm not 100%, to be honest with you.
Because I'm used to the absolute Wonder Woman. When you see her, especially when you see her at the end, she's carrying a giant sword.
Right.
So that's why I was wondering, is this meant to be the absolute Wonder Woman? It's intriguing. This issue is a very, very interesting one because we're continuing on this tournament and just seeing Superman's dream as far as what the world could be if he won. And this idea of this immense beauty and peace. This is where, boy, could you imagine if we were in this role and you had to do this? It sounds great to have this utopia where everything is perfect, but the world's also what it is because of its flaws. You know what I mean? It gives you something to strive for, to do, a reason to make an impact. You need both. I love this. I mean, this would be a great amusement park to visit, Superman's world. I don't know that I'd want to live in that world. I know that's a weird thing to say. And I think it's part of the danger of this is that I think all of them have these utopia worlds that they can craft. I don't know that I'd want any of them. In the end, I'd like to visit them. It would be great to see them. It'd be great to have a mini-series revolving around them. But I don't know that I'd want the real world to be any of these things. Have you watched Star Trek Starfleet Academy at all?
No.
So it's got, in the far future, as Star Trek often does, Star Trek does this idealized, like, kind of utopia of how things are striving to be better. But one of the things that always works is when there's flaws in that utopia, if that makes sense. And Starfleet Academy has that as well, or the society seems to have advanced, but in its advancement, they make some of the same mistakes we do. And I love that. I mean, I think that to me is Star Trek at its best when it does that. I love that I was like reading this and kind of going, well, we're starting to deal with a little bit of this in Starfleet Academy as well, which is kind of fun. I think that sci-fi is always interesting when you take a look at it in its own unique little world. Star Trek's very different than Star Wars and all of that, and I actually like different sci-fi worlds because I think they've all got little pieces that I like and other little pieces that I would change, like Calais. This is really cool. Like this also shows to me, I think where this is a victory, it shows the immense responsibility of winning and what winning could mean.
Yes. And that's one of the things that when this whole tournament began, if I was a superhero and I was in one of these heroes, I don't know if I would want to be a part of the tournament. I think I would have volunteered to be part of the crew that evacuated Earth, just because I don't think I could handle this level of responsibility with this power to recreate it. Now, depending on what power set I had, maybe I'd be better off in this universe, but it's one of those weird things that I don't know if I could handle this responsibility.
Yeah, that was for me. That responsibility would be something. It was interesting. I love that when he wakes up, Luthor knows he was dreaming the same thing, like what the world would be like if he took it over. And I love that he's Luthor's like, I had a great one. And you just know that there's a perversion of that. Like Lex's ego would get in such a way. And I love that we get to see all of them being ripped from their own visions. Because this is, again, the heart motivating them, right? Further and further, the more perversely you're drawn into this, the more that you want your world. We've got Cyborg with his techno-utopia, Wonder Woman with a universe aglow with truth, Joker with a black laughing void, Guy, a sculpture of will, Zatanna, a dark wonder, and Aquaman, a kingdom of peace. A kingdom there. I love that this is each of the champions having their own piece, their own world, their own direction, and what feels right to them. I love this. And this is, I remember realizing, like, wait, this is the third round of the tournament. We actually get the third and fourth round in this. And I love this third round where now they've got to fight as teams where they have to choose partners. And the only one that gets to choose a partner that is like above and beyond from any universe anywhere is the Joker himself. And I love that means this is going to be something twisted.
Yes.
I had no idea where it was going to go. We'll talk about it as the issue goes on. I loved where it went.
Yes. And again, I love the fact that the Joker is winning the tournament because he's generated the most amount of the mega energy because he is the Joker.
Yeah.
This is the kind of game that was written for the Joker to play in. And I love the fact that they're recognizing, Joker would be winning in this game. And that is something I was like, oh, man, and wondering who everyone's going to choose. I loved just these moments of, okay, you can pick from who are you going to pick. And I love the teaser that Cal was initially looking at a Power Girl. Supergirl, yeah.
Yeah.
Initially looking at his cousin to possibly choose a double Kryptonian, but I love his choice that he went with.
Aquaman possibly choosing Black Manta. They were all looking at people potentially. A lot of the warriors they've teamed up with. You would not immediately have it. I think you wouldn't have a single go-to when you're dealing with these kind of power sets. Yeah. And I love that you would sometimes go with comfort and familiarity first of family, and then make your choices. And I love that they even teased maybe Cal and Captain Atom.
Yeah,
was a tease that was there, and that would be a great combo. Mm-hmm. We saw those two fighting. That would have been a good combo. I love how we had all these unknowns, and then we finally get to the panel that shows who they teamed up with. Yeah.
Guy Gardner went with Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Love that. Superman went with Shazam. I'll be honest with you, I was surprised by that one. That was Shazam. Hold on. I loved it, but I was surprised by it.
But it was Cal's strategy. And that's one of the pieces that often is lost in Superman. His history, you go all the way back to Silver Age, Cal is known as a very, very smart man. And he was a scientist and all those pieces. It often gets lost that he is Superman, big punching, all these powers and things like that. We lose the mind of Superman sometimes. And I'm with you that I didn't see that one coming. But it makes perfect sense, and it's very Superman.
Yeah.
And I like when we're surprised by Superman.
And same thing with Lex and Supergirl.
Yep.
Because, again, you see Lex choosing Supergirl as his partner. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? That's not a good call. And I remember reading it, seeing this panel, going, are they eliminating? They can't eliminate Lex Luthor. Why the heck would he? Because the first thought that popped in my head is we're going to get Supergirl, Aquaman, and Hawkman versus Lex Luthor. Seeing this opening page, I immediately thought that. And like Aquaman and Hawkman, absolutely loved that Aquaman chooses Hawkman. I was like, yes, that is cool.
He's the only one that chose somebody that he most recently eliminated, too, because they showed us that page beforehand of everyone that just was most recently eliminated. And I love that he's the only one that there's a reason why I'm choosing this guy.
Oh, and big time I agree with it. And I love that. Wonder Woman and Big Barda. Again, love that combo. Mm-hmm. Love the teaming. But also, Wonder Woman not only selected Big Barda because she's an awesome warrior. I love Wonder Woman's strategy as well.
Yep.
Cal had some strategy. Even Lex has some strategy in why he chose Supergirl. Wonder Woman has that same level of strategy. I was like, that is brilliant. And Cyborg and Connor Hawk, again, I love the fact that, again, Cyborg's sticking with family. Connor Hawk's a Titan. He's one of them. And even Cyborg has a couple reasons why he's pulling in Connor Hawk. So that was something when I was first reading, like, okay, I probably would have gone with somebody a little bit more power, but I understood that Cyborg sticking with the Titan, bringing in another Titan, that's okay. But again, just looking at this page made me question, like, then Zatanna went with Constantine. One of the things, when I first saw that, I was like, okay, she's going up against the Joker and a mystery partner. Having Constantine, who is a master at cheating death, is actually a good partner for her. And again, it's the same power set of both two magic users, so it could throw you off. But she went with somebody that she knows how to cheat to win, and she knows she's gonna have to cheat to win to beat the Joker. So I love that selection. And again, I love the fact that the Joker was a mystery. We don't know what it is until we actually dive into the issue. This page is absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Lex is interesting in this because multiple times in this issue we see Lex swearing.
Yeah.
And it's not something we see a lot with Lex. What we're seeing more is his ego take over and the perverse need for the power. And I really like the writing in this. We're seeing how this energy is starting to affect some of them. And I really, really am enjoying the presentation of this. Lex's writing on this, I think, is very strong because it's a more in-your-face change that is continuing to escalate as we go along. He's letting go of all pretense here. And I really, because Lex sometimes will do that prim and proper thing. And I love this. We're letting go of all that right now. This is armored up Lex Luthor, who is, he is the, in his mind, he is the guy in this.
Yes.
And he's acting like the guy. And I love it. I love the presentation. It's working really well.
Oh God, yeah. And again, I love the fact that each of the arenas are right there. Mm-hmm. So they're all watching this fight go on, as opposed to how it did last time where it was multiple rounds. This is one and done. One KO and you're eliminated. There's no more multiple rounds, no more multiple dying. So you got to bring your A game right from jump. And as I said, guy going with guy choosing hell, two lanterns fighting together, same power set, but again, guy went with family. Guy went with his friends. He went with the guy who he knows has his back and knows how to throw down. I love this combo, and especially I did chuckle when Billy's like, "Oh hell no." Language. Sorry, Superman. I love that little bit.
Supergirl and Lex, and I'm going to be jumping a little bit with this because some of this we can streamline a little bit just because let's just talk about how cool it is. I love that she initially turns on him at first, but he had planned for that. He knew that she was not going to get on board. What he wanted was the Kryptonian that he could manipulate with a special kind of kryptonite that was basically a screwed up cocktail of all of the worst qualities of the various kryptonites.
Yeah.
And I just loved how he used that, recognizing I don't need you to be my buddy in this. I need you to be somebody I can control and manipulate, honey. And I'm going to use this. It is so Lex Luthor. It's the violation. I always loved the Supergirl Matrix version and Lex Luthor together, how she eventually discovered his manipulations and turned on him and things like that. I've always loved the relationship between any version of Supergirl and Lex Luthor. This very much fits. I would love to see in the future a Supergirl remembering this and having it out with Lex Luthor, because I love Supergirl, and I feel like this is exactly what Lex would do to Supergirl. All the more reason for her to go after him.
Yes, and I loved when he does infuse her with the red K spliced with this, spliced with that. As it's hitting her, as it's affecting, she looks over, sees Cal, says, "I'm sorry for what I have to do."
Yeah.
Recognizing, again, she knows what's about to happen.
Right.
She knows she's not going to have any control, and she's going to wipe the floor with his two friends, and he's going to bear witness to her destroying his friends.
Not only that, helping Lex win.
Yes.
That's really what she's apologizing for, is Lex is going to advance in the tournament because of her, which is what Lex intended.
Yes, I love that. Again, it's brilliant Lex Luthor stuff like that makes you go, I hate this fan as a person, but he's absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
And when you get the correct writer, creator who knows what they're doing with Lex Luthor, They play into that. There is the ego of Lex Luthor, but there's also the strategery of Lex Luthor. There is the intelligence. There is the viciousness. But then, I love how they're doing a brilliant combination of Lex here, that we're getting such a true reading on Lex that I'm like, this is absolutely brilliant. I love this. And I love that, again, with Barda and Wonder Woman. This was a great fight. And this was cool, but this was just the beginning of it. And I love that. That
Cyborg and Connor Hawke is something that it's easy to brush under the carpet. Cyborg's reasoning for choosing Connor Hawke: I don't have your skill set. You bring to the table a combat skill set I don't have that I can absorb. I can give you nanites to balance out some of your needs in this. The choice is brilliant because he absorbed all of that skill set from Connor Hawke, basically souping up the two of them to be next level combatants to actually be able to go toe to toe with Wonder Woman and Barda. It was a really good choice on Cyborg's part. And you're right, this is just the beginning of the fight, but everything made sense. It all of a sudden leveled up that fight and made it cool. Because it easily could have been, if it was done differently, it could have been a fight where, like, of course Wonder Woman's going to run him over. Yeah. I like that they made it feel like a fight where it is going to be a tough battle for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, this very easily could have been written as a squash.
Yep.
Very easily. And I love the fact that they didn't do that. One, because Cyborg has been so well written in this. If he would have just gone with his buddy just because of his buddy, they're like, that's not Cyborg. But this 100% is Cyborg. I can 100% see why Cyborg went with the person he's familiar with, but two, the person he can get the combat skills from, and then the person he knows infuse him with the nanites, and now I'm taking this brilliant warrior and making him stronger and faster and more dangerous so that he can keep up with Barda and Wonder Woman. And now Cyborg has the knowledge to keep up with Barda and Wonder Woman. So again, brilliant usage of what this was, but I also love the fact that when Barda and Wonder Woman win the fight, this wasn't just about having Barda there. Nope. She wanted to know about the heart of Apocalypse.
Yep.
Because Barda trained down in the fire pits. Barda knows Apocalypse, knows the heart. This is Wonder Woman, again, cheating the game, saying, hey, tell me, I need intel. Give me everything about this. I love the fact that we get that panel of Wonder Woman telling that to Barda, but we don't get Barda explaining it. That's all off page. So next issue, we're going to know what the kind of stuff that Barda told Wonder Woman. And we're going to see Wonder Woman probably share that information with Superman.
Yep.
And I love the fact that we're getting the stuff that's happening off page, and it makes sense. It's fitting these characters so much.
Remember, all of the Trinity is going to have some unique information to share now.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming Batman's somehow going to enter back into the game. And Batman's going to be coming with all kinds of hard intel.
I 100% believe after Knightfight, Bruce is going to somehow find his way back in the game.
Yeah.
And we're going to get the full Trinity at one point in time together fighting side by side against Darkseid.
I agree. I loved the swerve of the Joker.
Yes.
The Joker the man who laughs, and the Joker who laughs, and the Bruce Wayne version of the Joker actually being Mixus Pitlick.
Yes.
And the whole Emperor Joker thing coming into play. We have to do that story on the show at some point, Emperor Joker.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I loved when that was in there. I didn't see it coming, but it's the joke, right? Everything with the Joker is there's another layer to it. Here's the real joke. Joke's on you. You thought you were dealing with the man who laughs. You're dealing instead with Mixus Pitlick. And now the real game begins. And I loved every element of that because talk about the crazy strategy of the Joker. This was a brilliant choice.
Oh, dude. I'll tell you, when they first showed the Batman Who Laughs, I was like, oh, this is going to be an awesome fight. And I love how initially Constantine and Zatanna go on the offensive with the chains and this and that. And they're thinking, hey, you're like, hey, maybe they got the chance. And then when we get the big reveal, we've got Mxyzptlk's powers completely negating out what Constantine and Zatanna did, dropping a big ha as well as some teeth, some bombs, you get some dynamite. They're dropping everything on them, and they're just 100% again, they're outpowered. 100%. They know they're outpowered. They're scrambling. And again, I love how it's a slow process. First, Constantine falls. Then Zatanna's fighting it, and then she falls. This, for me, was a great battle. And again, it could have been a lot quicker, but they gave them enough panels to show these heroes have something, but also shows the Joker is thinking. The Joker is planning stuff. That's something that could always be lost in the Joker. Is you keep him as crazy agent of chaos. There's an intelligence to the Joker, and I love the fact that we do see the intelligence of the Joker in this fighting.
Superman and Black Mercy. I want to talk about that piece. Hal uses Black Mercy on Superman as a way to kind of take him out of the game. And I love that leads Superman to Lois's words about games and the fact that he always wants everybody else to win, but right now I need you to go out there and be Superman. I love that game keeps coming back up, the game night and the evolution of that game night. But Superman, one step further, where Superman goes to this utopia again, where he gets to see the world where his parents are alive and stuff like that, Jor-El and Lara. But also the Legion, the fact that his friends, as he knows them, are there and a part of the whole thing. Superman tapping back into those words of Lois, get out there and be Superman. It fills him with rage, and he bursts past the Black Mercy. And we see the real reason why he chose Billy. Yeah. Because Billy can give him something in this. Billy can share his powers with him. So now any of the weaknesses that normally affect Superman aren't going to have the effect that they have on Superman. Such a smart move. He's infusing him with magic. It's infusing him with the ability to overcome kryptonite. And by the way, I talked about action figures I want. I want a Super Shazam Superman action figure.
Exactly. Oh, I'm right along with you on that one.
That is so badass. Can we get a Super Shazam miniseries? Because I honestly would love to read more of this guy, like just in this piece. I know that this is going to be only for DCKO. I don't know. Give me more. I want more. That costume is so badass. The power set is so badass. Everything about that I love. I want one of those statues where it is him in the floating pose.
Yes.
With the metal
floating pose.
Yeah, with a little bar that holds the character up and that type of thing. Yep. I want this to I kid you not, I will buy that instantly. That is badass. That is really a good amalgamation of a hero. I want more of that.
The S that blends into a lightning bolt on the chest.
It's got to be all of that.
Yeah, and like the glowing arms.
Yes.
Everything. Oh, my God. 100%. Yeah, I'm all out.
And I want the cape flowing over the head. The way the cape flows. This needs to be a floating action figure.
Yes.
If not an action figure, I'm sorry. I don't want an action figure. I want a statue.
Floating.
I'll buy it. If all you're going to give me is an action figure, I'll take your doggone action figure. But I really want a statue.
Yes. And again, I love the fact that both Hal and Guy immediately recognized, we're done.
Yes.
They fought, but they knew they're done. And it was like one punch drops them. And again, I do love seeing them taken out. You see that look from him and Lex. And I love the fact that there's something in Lex's look, something Clark isn't sure he has ever seen in those eyes before. Admiration.
Yeah.
I love the fact that there was a level of respect that Lex has towards Big Blue because he's willing to go to that level. Because the other thing that's interesting...
But do you want that? Here's the thing. Do you want that admiration?
Clark, I don't know. Clark needs to up his game. And the interesting thing that it took me until my art read-through to realize, when Billy says Shazam, he goes back to statue form. He's done. This is the end of Billy.
Yeah.
So Billy had to die for Clark to get that power. So that is the level that Clark goes to get the power level.
Don't they all go back to statues, though?
Yeah. But again, it is the realization that he's just using him for his death.
This is really, really good. Now, the penultimate round, this leading to round 4, and right away building into that whole piece, where on a world that belongs to the King of Mayo, this is their world, which I'm very confused now. Because they're going to their world and their champions are the absolute heroes.
Right.
So what is going on? I'm assuming I still think the absolute universe is separate, but not right now. They're all here as the champions of this world for Darkseid. Is he controlling them now?
Yeah, well, you think about it, the Dark Side booster in the Watchtower of this thing stopped the time lock. So Darkseid could arrive, Darkseid could raise Earth and destroy it and make it into this Darkseid version, and then he's able to pull his absolute heroes into this universe. So this was one of those things that because once Booster revealed that he was Darkseid Booster or Dark Booster, Darkseid Gold, whatever he is, his combination of the two of those. Once that got revealed and he took out the other people who were blocking time, giving the heroes a chance to fight this tournament, that escalated the timeline for Earth's fall. So now this is Earth present. This is the hero's Earth that has been turned into another apocalypse because that time lock is done. And then Darkseid uses his power to pull in the absolute.
Is that what happened? I guess what I'm saying, or is the absolute universe this?
I 100% believe that they pulled the heroes from absolute to this.
Okay, I'm not against that. I'm not 100% on that yet.
Yeah, that's how I'm reading this, and that's my thought. Now, if I'm wrong, cool. If they're moved to absolute universe, that's awesome for me.
Do you feel that's an exclamation point, though? I'm not. I think your speculation's solid. So it sounds like I'm arguing with you. I'm not. I just don't know that I feel that that's an exclamation point. I feel that's a possibility of what's going on here. The thing that's throwing me off is that now all of a sudden we're seeing this Earth that has been. I could see him pulling it over. Ooh. Oh, because his evil legion has been doing this to our world.
Right. So I think because we've seen the Evil Legion operating in our world, I think this is what they were going for our world. So this is the regular DC Universe's world.
Well, that makes sense. The Evil Legion comes from his world, so these people would come from that world too. I get it. Right. I think you're right.
Yeah. Now,
this is a good conversation because now you're convincing me more and more that is exactly what's happening here.
Yeah. Now, my question is, who fights who? We've got the four people remaining, Joker, Lex, Superman, and Wonder Woman, versus Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Booster. Who fights who? Now, in my head, next issue is Joker versus Batman, because Joker's always going to want to kill a Batman. Mm-hmm. I see Superman going after Booster Gold. I see Lex going after a Superman, because he always wants to kill a Superman. And I see a Wonder Woman fight. I think the two Wonder Womans are going to fight.
I think eventually we're going to see, though, the Trinity versus the Trinity.
You think that we're going to get a Trinity versus Trinity?
I'm not disputing what you're saying right now. I think there's some opportunities there, but I think Bruce is coming back.
I would love that. Again, in DC Knightfight, issue 4 is coming out. When that comes out, I think there's because again, I haven't read it yet, even though it's out, because I didn't want to read it until after. I want to keep reading it as we're discussing this stuff. At the end of that could very easily bring Bruce back into the fight. And I don't know what's going to happen. And I love the fact that I don't know what's going to happen, but this final end page is absolutely brilliant. We've got the four of them, the four champions left, and then we've got the other absolute champions coming into play. So it's like, we knew this fight was coming. Now what happens after this fight is what I want to know. I'm like, man, talk about just building you up and wanting more. Give me more. I'm so pumped to go into the next issues of this, to talk about the other stuff going on in DCKO. That's something this event has done brilliantly. We talked about it with Aquaman, giving people a place to, giving them a great taste of what's going on in Aquaman and letting them say, hey, this is a book you want to read. This series is also doing a brilliant job with crafting a story.
I agree.
When we first started talking about DC, I thought it was just going to be that also ran kind of story where, oh, okay, it's a chance for heroes to fight heroes. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Didn't even remotely think it would be the level of storytelling we are getting. I'm so excited that I was so horribly wrong about what DCKO was going to be when I first read it on paper. When I first saw the initial discussions about it, I was not remotely at all excited about it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll talk about it. It'll be interesting to see the heroes fight. I was not even thinking at all the level of storytelling they were going to give us. I am so ecstatic and happy with this event. This right here has been, this for me has been like a perfect event. And I'm so looking forward to the ending of it, just because I want to see where this story goes. And also because I know...
Snyder was writing it from the get-go, though?
Well, I knew Snyder was writing it, but
you thought we were going to get that?
I didn't... when
it's Snyder.
I know.
He doesn't do any of that.
Here's the thing. I should have. I should have looked. I should have dealt more with going what he does, what he's done in the past, how awesome writer he is, and I should have known it would be better than what I was thinking. But I fully admit I was thinking it was going to be a fluff piece. I was not thinking it was going to be at this epic level of storytelling that it is. So I am so happy, ecstatic that I was so horribly wrong on this. I completely admit that when this first, right from jump, right as soon as if you re-listen to some of probably the very first DC KO issue, I was talking about, this is not what I thought it was going to be. This is not what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And as the story develops, as the story keeps going out, I'm like, this is absolutely brilliant. This is just, I want to own this thing in absolute. I want to own this thing. I want them to take this and make this animated. I want them to take this and give me multiple versions of DC KO.
Well, you're going to get that, though, because I feel like that there's going to be, it's collected in a few different ways, because there's eventually going to be an omnibus, too, with everything in it. Because
I want an absolute omnibus. I wanted an omnibus, so it's got everything, but I want it absolute size.
I would love for this, if they did the absolute version of this, for it to be everything, with multiple volumes, because I'm a big fan of the multiple volumes of the absolutes. I like the Brigger artwork, and I would want it to be more than just the main story. I will buy absolute, just straight up DCKO, but I would love it to be all the tie-ins as well.
I'm going to buy omnibus that has all the tie-ins. I'm going to buy absolute, and then if they later come out with absolute omnibus, I'm going to buy it again. That's how much I love this story.
The brackets, I'm just looking at them again and seeing, we speculated a lot on this. I think we're pretty darn close, because I think we predicted Superman Luthor at the end, and that, I think how we got there was interesting. I think in the end we did plan Wonder Woman Joker, I think was how we saw that one going as well. So it's going to be very, so let's take a look at that right now. Where do you see this going? I see Joker beating Wonder Woman. I see Joker being one of the top two. And I see Superman Joker.
Superman Joker. In my gut is saying Superman Joker, but in my heart, I want Superman Wonder Woman.
Oh, and I agree with that. But I think the way that I think the crazy that is Joker, I think the Joker is going to be one of the top two.
Now, one of the things I would love to see, Superman Wonder Woman, and that's when Bruce gets put back in the game. So now we have the Trinity all back in the game. And that's when they got to figure out, do we fight amongst ourselves or do we figure out a trick? And with Wonder Woman's knowledge, with Bruce's knowledge, can they figure out a way that the Trinity works together to defeat the game, to defeat Darkseid, to defeat the Heart? So in my head, I'm thinking it's going to be Superman Joker. But and there's still a slight part of me.
I think it's Superman Joker, and I think Superman's winning.
Yeah.
I think that last name is going to be Superman.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. There's so many different things that this can happen. And again, you also think about it. Superman Joker, Bruce comes into play, saves Superman, takes out the Joker. And that's how Superman wins. Outside interference.
I don't know. There's a lot to see.
Yeah. And the other thing, the Lex Luthor Superman fight, I am so looking forward to that. I am so looking forward to that just because just how Superman is now really starting to step up his game.
Yeah.
And he's really diving into the nature of the combat, nature of this contest.
Can he do it without losing himself? I think that's been the question since the beginning, right? And I think that's going to be an interesting part of all this. This has been such an amazing event.
Now, here, let me throw out one question to you.
Okay.
Is there any way in your mind that you think they will have Lex Luthor beat Superman?
No.
Even if Wonder Woman beats Joker?
No. I don't see that happening. I'm convinced I'm so solidly convinced Joker's going to beat Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a knock on Wonder Woman. It's not.
No.
I think
I completely understand.
Yeah.
Because again, Joker killed Batman.
Joker honestly, if you're going to ask me, the wild card of that one would be the Joker beating Superman.
Oh shoot, Joker beating Superman.
Like I'm 60-40 Superman winning. I think it's Joker Superman. I'm not like it's going to be definitely Superman for sure. If this thing's going to get wacky, it's going to be the Joker winning.
Now,
and by the way, again, speculation off of this thing, so I don't have anything to base that on. I'm having fun speculating on this. Again, there are writers involved in this that will blow that up in my face and do something completely wacky that I don't see coming. I'm prepared for that. So I'm throwing out, based on where we're at right now, if you were to say, what is your bracket and how solid are you? I'm definitely thinking Superman beats Lex Luthor. I think the admiration piece is, I don't think that's a throwaway. I think we've got Superman operating at a different level. I think Superman is going to play the game in a way that nobody's expecting, and Superman will win. I think we're seeing it. He keeps escalating more and more, but doing it his way. He is doing this he's doing it the Superman way. And I think we are going to see the wackiness of this Joker. I think he's going to beat Wonder Woman. I do.
Yeah, now here's my wild card. Mm-hmm. Luthor wins it all,
and I don't see that. Wait, by the way, you have every right to feel your speculation because I'm just speculating too. But no, why? So tell me why you think Luthor's going to win it.
Okay, so I'm thinking the wild card is Luthor wins it, and then goes back and doesn't build this utopia, doesn't build this thing, takes the universe back to where it was. Just to prove to Superman he's better. Just to prove to Superman, and the world refreshes and everything is normal. And Luthor's like, I told you, I'm better than you. I saved the universe. And you have to live with the fact that I saved the universe. And I restored it back to exactly how it was.
See, I see Luthor having too much perverse pleasure in, yes, restoring it, but making improvements to prove that he's better. Look what I gave you. Look at the world I gave you.
Yeah. I think maybe the improvements would be, in everybody's mind, they don't know he's a villain. Everybody else sees Lex Luthor as being the image that he portrayed, except for Superman.
Yeah.
Superman's the only one who knows who Lex Luthor truly is. But
Lex doesn't view himself as the villain of the story, though.
Right. But so that's why Lex would clear his name in everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Rewrite history where he gets acquitted of these crimes, acquitted of this. Now, again, this is my wild card.
No.
This is not what I think is going to happen.
Here's the thing. I think you're right. That's what goes on in Lex's head. Yeah. Lex got a version of the world that facilitates himself. And I see that. I don't see that version coming to fruition. I think that's the dream that we saw earlier.
Yeah, could be. And that's why we didn't physically see it this time. Because they didn't want to spoil it, and now that's my wild.
Or let me go another wild card. Let me throw another one for you. Lex sees in Superman the person that should win this.
Oh,
the man who admired him this issue. That's why I'm thinking. I think Superman's winning.
Well, I'll be honest with you, my main bet is on Superman. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be Superman Joker. Superman beats Joker. And Superman wins the turn. That's what I think. Now, my wild cards, as I said, the wild card is Luthor wins it all. And the other wild card I have is Diana beats Joker.
And I don't see that happening.
And again, as I said, I think if we do a Superman Wonder Woman, that's where Bruce pops in. And then we'd have the Trinity. And it goes from being a one-on-one to a three-way.
I see Batman getting back involved in this, but I don't see him being in the bracket.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But I could be wrong.
No, and again, and I think that's the brilliance of this story being told.
Yeah.
Is that we think this, we think this, it could be that. I love that. I love the fact that, and neither one of us are saying, oh, you're wrong, because we can't say you're wrong. We both see each other's merit. We both like the story. And again, the story you're throwing out, I love that.
I can say you're wrong.
Stone cold salute for you, buddy.
No, I think this is what's great about this story is the fact that I think based on your reading experience and what you pull into emotionally from this, you start speculating and start feeling your speculation is where the story's going. I think it's great. I think that's when you're passionate about a story. I feel like there's going to be twists and turns in this that neither of us see coming. And I think that's what I'm really digging about the story. It's those twists and turns.
Holy caffeine!
RagingBullets.com is our show website that you can find details on upcoming episode releases. We feed into Twitter/X. We also feed into our Facebook fan page. We are proud to be part of an amazing Facebook group community. And honestly, I've got to say a complete shout out to the people that post over there. They are killing it. There's so many great articles and blogs and news and pieces of information that are being posted out there, even questions and content. I just really appreciate the interactivity of the people over there. Please, if you've got something you want to shout out, feel free to post it in that group. I look at that as a collaborative space and really just appreciate everyone who posts over there. I'm getting my news first right from that group. And thank you for everyone that's curating it. I don't shout out the names, not because I don't care. I don't want to leave somebody out. There's usually 3 or 4 really strong people that are posting amazing things over there. Really appreciate you. We are sponsored, as always, by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segelin, what's going on over at DCBService.com?
We have Batman, Wonder Woman, Truth, one shot, 38% off, only $371. Bizarro, Year None, issues 1 of 4, 38% off, only $309. And Fury of Firestorm, issue 1 of 6, 38% off, only $207. Plus, don't forget, Free Comic Book Day 2026, Aquamanity, DC Next Level Sampler, DC Sonic the Hedgehog, and Nice House on the Lake. Thank you, DCBS.
Remember something with those issue 1 of 6 books, too. Please check those out, because if they end up getting significant sales numbers and they wind up being these killer books that do well, they have been known to extend them. Poison Ivy is a great example of a book that was originally intended to be a miniseries that wound up being an ongoing. So definitely check out those books if you're interested. That Fury of Firestorm is one that's very high on my list as being something I'm interested in, and I'd love to see that, if it's as good as it looks like it's going to be, turn into an ongoing. Over at InStockTrades.com, once again, the DC Finest Green Arrow, The Trial of Oliver Queen trade paperback. That is 640 pages, $39.99 regularly, 48% off, only $20.79. Remember, that has never before collected material in there as well. So check out these volumes if you haven't been. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support us and so many other podcasts. I also want to shout out the About Us section of our show website. That's where you can connect with us on gaming platforms and personal social media. I am a regular co-host on Is It Jaws, a film review podcast Paul Spataro was kind enough to invite me to be a part of, and absolutely love doing that program. We just did an episode on Seven Samurai that is going to be released in the future. We're covering just a lot of content. We're going to be we're recording another James Bond episode this week. We record far ahead for that podcast, so there's a great opportunity for you to really just get our thoughts, along with a wide variety of other special and amazing guests as we talk about film. So if you have a love for film, please join us for that. Our next episode, Jim and I are going to be back, and we're going to be talking about DCKO once again with Titans number 31, DCKO Green Lantern Galactic Slam number 1, and Superman number 34. We will see you next week.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Are you ready to sing your song?
I'd say we are. Yeah, let's sing it now.
Okay, this should be fun. Now get ready for your cue. Okay, Sean?
Okay.
Okay, Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay! Raging Bullets time is here. We talk about what we hold dear. Comic books and TV shows. Superheroes and their clothes. Justice League and so much more. I just love Green Lantern Corps.
Okay, fellas, get ready. That was very good, Sean.
Naturally.
Jim, you're a little flat there, so be careful. Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Justice League and so much more. I still love Green Lantern Corps. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show.
Excellent job, guys.
Let's sing it again. Yeah, let's sing it again.
No, that's enough. Let's not push it.
Push it. What is that? Yeah, what are you talking about?
No, I didn't mean anything by that.
I think
Sean,
it's right
Jim,
there.
how long do you want the song to go?
Look, it's